some time ago, a guy that lives in a state that looks like a giant oven mitt decided to start his own podcast. He's cooler than you. His favorite pizza topping is pineapple because he knows it makes you angry. This is CuJo's Corner. Hey everyone, Justin Crumley here, back again with another edition of CuJo's Corner. This is the 34th installment. The date today is Thursday, October 27th, as of the time that I am recording this. It's probably going to be a relatively short one today. I don't have too much to really talk about. I don't want to talk about the Pats game. The Red Wings just started. They're off to a pretty damn good start. But, not too much to talk about in that regard. The Pistons aren't off to a great start, but I, don't really have a lot there. But it is rivalry week. Michigan State. It's not quite as exciting this time around as it was last year. Mostly because Michigan State is awful. They're, I think, 3-4, something like that. I haven't checked a record before recording this, but as a guy who listens to 97.1 pretty frequently, I can tell you right now, Michigan State is not good. I've also watched all but one of their games this year. I didn't see their last one against Wisconsin. I know they won in overtime, but yeah, the line on this one, last time I checked, was Michigan minus 23. I tend not to really buy too much into the line, especially when it comes to Michigan, because they typically don't cover the line. And let's not forget, Mel Tucker's first year, Michigan was 27.5-point favorites. It was the COVID year. And, guys, come on, like it or not, it counted. We're 0-2 against Mel Tucker. So that brings me to what I want to talk about in this installment today. I want to sell you on the importance of this game. Not so much for Michigan State, but for Michigan. I am a Michigan fan. I can't speak for State fans, but I will say that this is a very, very important game for Michigan, and not just for the reasons of that, it's Michigan State, and guys, let's be honest, they are our biggest rival right now. It's not just for that reason. Now, obviously, you want to always win your rivalry games. I think that goes without saying, but I want to sell you on the importance of this as far as the implications that it has for Michigan's season. I'm going to pull up the records right now of the top 10 teams in the country as of right now. Now, obviously, this landscape is going to look a lot different. Georgia and Tennessee still have to play each other, so one of those teams is going to have a loss at some point, which kind of helps my point here, but I'll get to that in a second. So, real quick, Georgia, Ohio State, Tennessee, and Michigan are all 7-0. That's your top four. Clemson is 8-0, and that's where the undefeated teams stop. As I said, Georgia and Tennessee are not going to be undefeated by the time Michigan and Ohio State play, because I do believe I don't know if they play this week, but I know they play each other at some point. But anyway, Michigan and Ohio State both look like very solid teams this year, possibly national title contenders, both of them. And I'm not even exaggerating. Guys, Michigan is coming off of a win where they just ran for over 400 plus yards on a very solid Penn State defense, at least as far as run defense goes. It was a very solid run defense, and Michigan made it look bad. You can't fake that. 400 plus rushing yards. I don't care what anyone says. You can't fake that. Michigan's legit. They're for real. They look pretty damn good. And that's not to take anything away from Georgia. Georgia's good, but they don't, I mean, from what I gather, they don't look as good as last year. Alabama just lost to Tennessee, and let's be honest, up to that point, they were kind of looking a little suspect at best. It's very well possible that Michigan and Ohio State could be competing for a natty this year. Now, that brings me back to the implication. So, let's be honest. There is a decent chance that Michigan and Ohio State both get into the playoffs, even though one of them is going to have one loss. Now, in order for this to become a possibility, both of them have to be undefeated. Now, understand this. I don't care if Ohio State goes undefeated from this point on. In fact, I kind of hope they lose a game. I think they play Penn State this Saturday. I don't know for sure, but yeah, they can go ahead and lose. It wouldn't bother me at all. I am only talking about Michigan. In order for Michigan to not be in a situation where they must beat Ohio State in order to get into the playoffs, they have to be undefeated. In other words, they have to win this game against Michigan State. Now, I'm not gonna act like this is gonna be some big game. I'm not gonna act like, I don't know, this is gonna be a great game, man. I'm expecting a hard-fought battle. Look, gun to my head, I think Michigan's gonna curb stomp Michigan State. I do. Michigan State does not look good, and I think the key here is J.J. McCarthy. J.J. McCarthy just needs to cut down on the mistakes. Honestly, I don't think Michigan should abandon the run game. They got a damn good run game. They got a great running duo in Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards. And I don't see much of a reason to abandon much of that. It's more of a clean, less risk kind of style, which is what Harbaugh wants to run. However, I think Michigan State's pass defense is so bad. If he tells J.J. McCarthy to go crazy, I kind of hope J.J. McCarthy actually goes crazy. If we're going for what we want here, guys, I'll be honest. I want Michigan to absolutely crush Michigan State. I want Michigan to basically, at halftime, I want that game to be done. 35-0 or something to that effect. Michigan needs to absolutely curb stomp Michigan State. Now, I know, but that kills the entertainment. And in all likelihood, it's probably not. I mean, it may or may not happen. Michigan State does tend to play Michigan very tough. I'm gonna give Michigan State their credit. They have played Michigan very tough. Been plenty of years where they were bad, where they played Michigan tough. There was 2 years in a row under John L. Smith, they took Michigan to overtime. John L. Smith was not a great coach. Also, Mark D'Antonio's first year. Now, granted, I off the top of my head, I don't remember what Michigan State looked like that year. I was kind of young when D'Antonio took over. Wasn't quite as observant as I am now, but anyway, they fought Michigan hard. Now, that was Lloyd Carr's last year, if memory serves correct, and Michigan did end up winning the game, but State played them hard. There are years where it happens, so I'm not expecting a blowout, and like I said, my advice to anyone, I probably wouldn't bet on it, but I don't know. I'm not going to stop you on that either. But I don't want to divert too far from the point. I don't want to get too far off topic here. Guys, we have to win this game. This is a must-win game for Michigan. And look, hopes aside, obviously, I want Michigan to demolish Michigan State, break their foot off in their ass, whatever. But if they end up winning 35-7, and it's mostly because they they dominated time of possession, they chewed up the clock, they ran the ball, they kind of wore Michigan State down a bit, I'm okay with it. You have to come out with a win. And I think at the very least, you have to look somewhat dominant. Again, this is a rivalry game. You always want to win those games. And I was just reading an article, and I'll throw it in the description below, about Jim Harbaugh. He clearly wants to win the game. And I'm happy to see that he's talking about that kind of stuff. I'm happy to see that he's taking the game serious. He's given Michigan State their credit because, guys, they over the last 10 years, I think the record is like 6-4. Michigan State. The last 20, they're 10-10. I want to start winning these games again. I want to start beating Michigan State on the norm. Like 3 out of 4 years, 4 out of 5 years, maybe 6 out of 8, whatever. I want the ratio, the pendulum, to swing back into Michigan's favor. And I think it needs to start now. Now, again, I think it will. I do think Michigan will win this game. I'm not even going to sit here and play the game of, oh, well, I don't know, man. Oh, this game could be tough. Oh. No, I think Michigan's going to break their foot off in Michigan State's ass and put a bullet in the back of their head. It's going to be an ass kicking. Okay, I'm going to stop now. I apologize. No, but seriously, look, guys, I can't play. I can't. I can't stress this enough. The importance of this game. Michigan has to go into Columbus undefeated, and that means they have to win on Saturday. And I mean, look, if for nothing else, we're 0-2 against Mel Tucker. I'm sick and tired of hearing Tuck coming. I'm sick and tired of hearing that crap. I think it's time we give, we at least take one of those games back, because we'll still be, if we win, we'd still be 1-2, but gotta win. That's the important thing. Just win. Whether it's 66-0 or 35-7, or hell, even 35-17, whatever. Even if Michigan State makes it somewhat interesting, just win. That's the bottom line. That's really all I want at this point. And look, again, I look at this layout, and obviously the landscape's going to look a lot different. As I said, Georgia, Tennessee, one of these teams are not going to be undefeated by the time Michigan, Ohio State play. Again, guys, you can correct me in the comment section below if they play at the same time. I'm not really sure when they play. Anyway, I don't know where Clemson is going to be. I haven't really paid attention to Clemson at all. I know they're 8-0. They technically are, they have a better record than even the 7-0 teams, but they're not even in the top 4. So I don't know what those wins look like. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry, guys. I need to correct the record. There is another undefeated team in the top 10, TCU. TCU is number 7, and they're 7-0. I do apologize. I need to correct the record on that. So yeah, I'm sorry about that, guys. TCU is undefeated technically, but again, they're number 7, so those wins must not carry a lot of weight. There's a lot of one-loss teams that I could easily see getting into the playoffs, depending on where they're at. So again, it's not hard to see Michigan and Ohio State. It's not hard to see a possibility where both Michigan and Ohio State get into the playoffs. Now, that being said, obviously I want Michigan to win that game, and I want them to win the Big Ten championship. At that point, anything else is just extra sauce on the Chicago-style pizza for me. So, anyway, guys, you've heard me talk, you've heard my opinion, you've heard my sexy, sexy voice. I'm kidding. You've heard my opinions on this game. Do you agree with me on the importance of it, or are you kind of just saying, they're gonna whoop their ass, or are you a Spartan? You're not interested because you think you're gonna lose? Whatever your opinions are, guys. I'm not gonna straw man you with all this. Go ahead, throw your thoughts, your opinions down below. Let's get a conversation going about this, and again, thank you so much for watching the video, listening to the audio, whatever you choose to do. Yeah, until next time, go blue. And this is Justin Crumley with CuJo's Corner saying, stay awesome. If you enjoyed this video from CuJo Productions, please consider subscribing, check out my Redbubble page for all my merch, and hit the bell icon so that you're notified for every time I upload a video. As always, stay awesome, guys.